Hello, everybody. What's up, citizens of Gotham? Okay, that was weird. Nobody's watching. All right. Hello. All right. What's up, everybody? Hello. Hello, citizens of Gotham. What's everybody? Austin, DB, Kim. Share this on your social media. I'm going to bring Lee Camp on the show here, folks. Bring Lee on in. What's up? Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay. Ed, what's up? Am I Jewish? No, I am not. Thankfully saw your tweet because YouTube ain't notifying me. Yeah, I know. It's such a colossal bummer on that one. Let's get everything set up, ladies and gentlemen, on the Political Vigilante. It is Wednesday, July 1. Yes, Lee Camp is a descendant of Robert E. Lee. Yes, he is. Yes, Lee Camp is. Let's bring him on the show, everybody. Beep 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 boo 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 boo. Oh. Zim 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 zim. Let's do this real quick. Let's do. Hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button. Hit the like button, everybody. What's up? My screen shrunk. Man, this is... Preset. Hi. 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 Hi, hi, hi. Hi. Ho, ho, boom. Boom. That should fix it, but... If you had to choose someone to debate Ben Shapiro and beat him, who would you put up against him? I don't know. So 7 p.m. Eastern is the normal starting time for the show. You know, last week and this week, yes. It's because Jimmy's on vacation. Jimmy usually goes around this time, Jimmy Dore, and I don't typically want to go around the same time he does because we obviously have a crossover audience. So, I don't know. We'll see. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Dude. All right, hold on. God, this is... Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi, Lee.
How you doing?
Good, buddy. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Outstanding. Well, we're going to have to cut my camera off because my little laptop can't handle this much.
What have you tried doing a fundraiser to get you a fucking legit laptop?
What? I think I have not considered doing that, but what I do need is like an actual desktop computer that I just use for streaming. That's what has been told to me by numerous tech people.
Well, I'm on a laptop too. So.
I'm just asking my laptop to do too much because I'm streaming and I'm transcoding this camera and blah blah.
Well, and I don't know if you need the porn running live while you're like the porn chat.
It's how I focus, Lee. It's how I do this show. I desperately, I just need to watch some man-on-man action. That helps me do the show. That helps me become that's why I'm the political vigilante.
Fair enough. I feel like I'm at a disadvantage though because you can see me.
All right, everybody, hit the like button. So I want to tell the audience this is Lee actually came up with this idea of like, let's do a podcast that it's just he and I talking, being co-hosts, rather than me interviewing him or him interviewing me for his show. And we were talking about like, how can we get this done? Because we both are very busy and setting a separate hour out of the week. I don't know. It's a lot. So I was just like,
Graham has to surf at least 7 hours a day. So that sucks up a big.
It does. And I was surfing earlier today and it was fucking righteous. I mean, the waves were glassy. Yeah, surfing is a very important part of my life, Lee. Thank you for bringing that up. So we thought, let's do it during one of my live streams and we'll make it its own segment. And rather than like me, interview Lee for Political Vigilante, we're going to just do this podcast during my my Political Vigilante live stream, but we're going to then pull the audio from this and release it as a separate podcast. And the title of it is, Lee,
Government Secrets with Lee Camp and Graham Elwood.
Oh, welcome to episode 1 of Government Secrets.
And we promise, we make a promise to the audience, we will decide by episode 2 whether we want to keep doing this.
It might be a real limited run. We might go, this is dumb, or I hated it, or the audience doesn't care, or whatever. Or, I need to do more surfing, whatever it is, whatever.
Yeah, so for those of you watching this this pilot episode, let Graham know if you hate this or not.
In the live stream, just bright love or hate. So it's episode 1 of Government Secrets, and we thought, it's politics, but also, we're two jackwagon comedians. So we thought we would each sort of introduce a couple of stories that maybe the other guy isn't that aware of, and then just kind of go from there. And we'll see how it takes. We'll see what we like. Maybe we can. That's the beautiful thing about a podcast. We can tweak it. We can, make it 4 minutes long. We can make it whatever we can do. I
view it as a battle I'd say the first month will be a battle to see who is the sidekick.
Sidekick deathmatch. Maybe that's what we should call the show, a sidekick deathmatch.
Yeah. This is UFC to see who can get the stranglehold first.
Who can? Yeah, that's the thing. Oh man, this is gonna be brutal. No one wants to get relegated to sidekick. Man, that's a tough go. So before we get into it, Lee, I don't know what's been going on in your world. Anything exciting?
God, no. That's the thing about quarantining, right? There is nothing happening in your life. I just keep doing the show and everything. So there's crazy shit going on in the world, but in my life, no, nothing. I saw a rather large ant in the apartment, so there was that.
Were you
the small ones, but this guy had some heft. He actually took the couch with him, which pissed me off.
Oh my God. Were you worried he was carrying COVID-19?
Yes. He did have on a mask, which I don't know if that's better or worse, but
well, at least he was like, practicing social distancing and wearing a mask. He's not a dick ant,
Right. He's not a dick. Yeah. That is very true.
It's all the ants watching out there. Don't be dicks. You know what I mean?
Let's actually start with your analysis of the mask culture, because here's the thing: is I do the mask, especially when I'm in in grocery stores and stuff like that, or even if I know I'll be walking near a lot of people, like at the protests and things like that. But I don't feel the need to. There's really no point to it when you're walking on a sidewalk completely. DC's not, in parts of DC are not that heavily populated, so I can walk around, and yet people on the other side of the road, when I'm alone on a sidewalk, will look at me like, oh, fucking MAGA hat wearing douchebag, because I don't have a mask on alone in a field. Like, there's no.
Are you walking through a lot of fields over there in DC?
Well, like, I'll go running and not be near anyone.
Oh, right.
But
right.
Like, you can't run with a goddamn mask on. You're breathing your own carbon dioxide. I mean, this is survival of the fittest, isn't it? Yeah.
No, it's an excellent point. I mean, I don't wear one because it's my God-given right. And I think my AR-15 and my MAGA hat will protect me from COVID-19. So feel very safe in that regard. No, I'm very I've been, every time I go to the store, any enclosed space, I wear the mask. Since more research has come out to say that it's harder for COVID to, get for somebody to give it to somebody and in the outdoors, right? It seems like it's all enclosed spaces is where it gets bad. So
enclosed in like face to face and stuff. So apparently around the protests, there has not been an uptick in like areas that had protests, unless and the contact tracing has shown that it doesn't. People aren't getting it from the protests, and the reason I think is A, you're outdoors. B, most people are wearing masks, probably just to stop from facial recognition surveillance. But and then everyone's kind of largely facing the same direction, so you're not talking into people's faces, and so people aren't getting it, despite the fact you have tens of thousands of people together at a protest.
Well, that was such compelling evidence that there wasn't this uptick. That was that week, which was a month ago. I was like, that week of protests, and I went to several. I was like, well, we'll see. If everybody at the protest gets it, then we know, oh man. But it's not. The uptick is coming from bars.
It hates black people. That's what we've learned.
Which is good. Yeah, we need that data. So it's really like it's the upticks are coming from like restaurants and bars and people just not wearing it. So like when I go outside, I typically wear it if I'm walking down the street. I wear it when I ride my bike, and I got this special filter for bike riding that has valves and a filter, so you're not breathing in your own.
Do you look like Bane from Batman?
Take control of your bike ride. Yes.
Okay, good.
Which is my goal. Ultimately, I do want to be in charge of the League of Shadows, but that's probably a separate issue, a separate podcast. So yeah, I mean, I wear it, but I got this mask specifically, for that. And I mean, it has a filter, and it's like I think it might even been designed for like people in Beijing or whatever because of the exhaust or like bike messengers in big cities or something like that.
They've been living with masks on for years now.
Yeah. So, when I'm walking down in my neighborhood, I'll have it on, or I won't until I see people come near me, then I'll put it on or something like that. But I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to go off of as much science and data as possible, and it's like the mask helps. So I don't know.
Yeah. No, I use the mask when I'm around people. I just don't use it when I'm not near people.
Yeah, and then but then like when I surf or when I'm at the beach, no one's wearing a mask when they're surfing, but there's this ocean breeze. Surfing is sort of the perfect social.
So if you had on a mask, wouldn't it be like waterboarding yourself?
Yes.
Wouldn't it just fill with water?
Well, we in surf culture we call that catching a gitmo. So Yeah, it would look weird if you had a mask on surfing. And it's a kind of the perfect social distancing sport anyway, because everyone's got these surfboards that are anywhere from 6 to 9 feet long. So you're at least 10, 15 feet apart from each other when you're surfing. So
does this count as first world problems? I can't wear a mask while I'm surfing.
This is
what do I do?
This is why they looted Santa Monica, because they heard conversations like this. They're like, okay, asshole.
I need a mask with a straw opening for my $12 green smoothie.
When I'm surfing my low carbon footprint surfboard that I had handmade for me, should I have a mask on? All right, Dick.
Yeah, we have it rough.
So I don't know. You want to go? Who wants to go first? What do you want to do, buddy?
Sure, I'll dive in. So I'm giving away a little something here. This will probably be not the next redacted tonight, but the one after that. I think I've started working on this piece about. So there's this insane story, right, about the Russian bounty for the Taliban to kill American soldiers, and your mainstream media and your Don Lemons and your Wolf Blitzers and your Blanderson Poopers are running around going, the Russia paid Taliban to kill American soldiers. Now, let's throw some things out there that is not really my main point. But first of all, you don't need to pay the Taliban to try and kill American soldiers, all right? They just want to kill American soldiers. That's already happening for decades, literally decades, okay? Point number two, America has been paying the Taliban to kill American soldiers.
Right.
We've been funding the Taliban for decades because we pay them to let our trucks go through the mountain passes and shit like that. Our contractors pay them, we bribe them. So really, we've been funding the Taliban and fighting the Taliban. So you could also have a mind-blowing report, America funding Taliban to kill Americans. But beyond all that, when I heard this story, and this is how our government works right now, this is how our mainstream establishment works right now, my thought was, okay, to drop a story like this must mean that there is some sort of threat of peace on the horizon, a threat of withdrawal of U.S. troops, a threat of peace somewhere. And that's the only reason you normally see a story like this where you're like, what in the fuck? And so that's when I started looking for, well, what is the threat of peace that this propaganda is meant to stop? And all you have to do is look back, a few days, and two major troop withdrawals that Trump has talked about and told the Pentagon to begin. One is just kind of maybe a threat, but threatening to withdraw 10,000 troops from Germany. Okay, that's 1/3 of our Germany presence, and of course that's kind of closer to Russia. So, oh my God, we're not going to have 35,000 troops in Germany to fight Russia. We'll only have 25,000 troops in Germany. It's and people are flipping out. So that's one. Two is there was the threat of peace with Afghanistan, like that we might actually have peace in Afghanistan was a real problem, and Trump was telling them to withdraw the troops from Afghanistan. And so we've seen this same pattern with other times. And look, I fucking hate Trump. Trump's I've said more positive things about the Skolex family of tapeworms. Okay, I don't like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is
there's a handful of good things to say about that family of tapeworms. I mean, there's let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater.
They read more than Trump, so absolutely. But they keep you skinny. They keep you looking good. In LA, they're very popular.
I'm on a tapeworm diet right now. That's I've eaten a bunch this morning.
But so this is not a defense of Donald Trump, but at times he goes against the military-industrial complex and tries to create peace with a couple of countries. And so it's like North Korea, Syria, Afghanistan. He talked about withdrawing troops from Syria. And what happened? Within 3 days after he said withdraw the troops from Syria, we see a chemical attack in Duma, right? And now we've seen the whistleblowers in the OPCW reveal that there was no chemical attack in Duma. But it succeeded, right? The propaganda succeeded. And this propaganda will probably also succeed.
And by Duma, that must be a city in Pennsylvania, right? Where the Philadelphia police just gassed people on a hilltop with a Black Lives Matter protest, or do I have
the chemical weapons attack? Yes, and it was kind of in the middle of the state, Pennsylvania, by State College area. Yeah,
yeah. Well, man, that's such a great point, and this is what government secrets is all about.
We already know in the first episode. This is what it's all about.
It's anytime there's a threat of peace, there's two things that are going to ramp up war. The threat of peace, and somebody says they don't want to use the petrodollar. That's like, man, you just put a bullseye on your forehead when you said that. And this thing that like is such a great notion. Like the Taliban needed to be paid. They're a non-for-profit organization. They were just pretty good on wanting to kill Americans. That was kind of their whole vibe. You didn't need Putin to come in, whether he did or didn't. It makes it somehow like
it's like going up to the guy sleeping with your wife and offering him money to sleep with your wife. It's like, I already was doing it. Maybe you want to give me cash, sure, but I was already doing it.
Yeah. So now we're already humiliated by getting cheated on, and we're paying the guy that's banging our wives. So it's really twofold. I mean, there's so many things here too. Like part of it is they're probably going, oh, we're coming up on the 19th anniversary of the invasion of Afghanistan. And there's a lot of talk. I mean, what's happened in the last month with the George Floyd protest is the defund the police. People have started to extend it to, and let's defund the military, because it's the same model, right? We spend too much on our wars overseas, and it's weird we don't have money for Medicare for all. It's the same thing, in our cities. We don't have money for homeless and good schools and drug treatment and housing and all this other stuff, but we got money for up armored vehicles and tear gas and rubber bullets and all that.
By spend too much, you mean astronomically too much.
Yeah.
You mean an amount of money no one can even comprehend. A lot of us that actually give a shit about the spending on military have for a long time, we all quote the fact that the U.S. spends more on military than the following, it's like 10 countries combined. But perhaps the more interesting fact is it's more than like 170 countries combined. Mm-hmm. It's like the bottom 170 countries of military spending, we spend more than that. Because most countries just exist. They don't need to kill everybody to feel good about themselves.
I know, it's just like, a friend of mine was talking to somebody in like Sweden, and there was a comic. They were over there visiting for a while, and they were like, they saw some business or something, and they're like, well, why don't they? I mean, it's a really good shop. They should grow that and make a thing and then a chain. And the Swedes went, we don't need to take over the world. Like, easy, American. Just like, it's a fine little coffee shop. There doesn't need to be a chain and a thing and then stock offering and just like, and that's just.
We've grown up in America thinking, listen, the goal is to be cancer, okay? Just keep growing until you destroy the host. That is the goal of life.
That's what we're supposed to do. If you're not trying to dominate the entire planet, you are just a pussy. You're just a failure who has no goals in life. Like, and all these other countries are just like, I just want to have a nice life. I just want to.
I really just wanted my coffee shop. Was all.
That's all I wanted. And going back,
I wanted to be able to go home and just like have a life. And when I'm home and like not plot world takeover.
Yeah, I don't need more guns or a stock offering. I just kind of want to hang out and have a good time. I don't need a 90-inch TV to go with my arsenal. And it's funny going back to Afghanistan. Like, so I've went there on 3 different occasions as a stand-up comic, right? 04, 06, 07. And
I'm sure you saw like the like you were embedded with the really poor people in the back alleys, right?
No, I was with the United States military, and you see all the money, like to see the American war machine up close and to see how the whole system works. So all these, and I went between 2004 and 2012. I went seven.
Were you getting? So you're saying you were getting paid like $1 million a show, like pallets of cash?
I wish. No, we were not paid well. Halliburton was paid well. We just did it for the pat on the back and the job well done. But
you were sitting there watching pallets of shrink wrapped cash just go by you, and you're like, can we just have like just like a little bit of that? Can we just, because it's like right there. Like,
should we share that money? They're like, shut up, commie, and then they punched us in the stomach. But you saw the whole thing. Like, you saw these 20-somethings who, especially when I started going back in like 07, 08, and then I went to Iraq in 08 and 2011 and Kuwait in 2012. The re-enlistment, there's no jobs back where I live, so I took a $20,000 re-enlistment bonus. So not only did you saw the foreign and domestic empire at work. You saw there's no jobs or education for everybody in America, so it's either Walmart or you know, deal opioids, you know, be a drug dealer or something. And then
now the normal career path for an American is Walmart, join the military, back at Walmart, but angrier.
Yeah, yes, and higher rates of suicide now that you have PTSD. Right. And so you saw the whole thing, and you saw we spent all this money and all this stuff, and I'm like, and after when I was there in 04, so they had sort of like claimed victory over the Taliban, and were like in the quote rebuilding stage. And
in 04,
yeah,
16 years ago, they were like, we did it.
We're done. And I was talking to officers and stuff who were like, oh, we're starting to, you know, run security for schools because the Taliban was bombing girls' school, and we're building bridges and roads and infrastructure, and then all the money got diverted to Iraq. And you're like, we should be flying into Kabul as tourists now, the way we go into the Ho Chi Minh City. Like, we could have helped rebuild the whole country. And it's 19 years. I mean, literally the first time I went there was 16 years ago. It's insane. I can't even, and the fact that they're like still drumming up. I mean, honestly, it's just like Hollywood keeps making these remakes.
There's soldiers in Afghanistan who were 3 when you were touring there.
Yes, yeah, exactly. They were 3 years old. I mean, it's unbelievable, and we just keep Russia, terrorism. It's like, I feel like I'm watching the Fast and Furious franchise. Like, there's just another same storyline, same actors, Vin Diesel walking around mumbling, going, we gotta do it for family, you know, like it never.
No matter which bad guy they catch, it all starts over again the next week.
Yeah, because another bad guy's loose, and this guy's got a vendetta, and we got to get the cars together. And now these drag racers.
It turns out Al-Qaeda's got an infinite number of number ones, because we have killed probably 100 Al-Qaeda number ones.
Oh, yeah. We always. I mean, I feel like I'm watching The Prisoner. Anyway, like that. I don't know when the American people are going to wake up to this fact that we've been at this war for 19 years and we've spent trillions of dollars. Like, when is?
Well, American people have to some extent, which is why Trump made all these promises his last campaign about ending the wars. I'm not going to Syria. Terrible mistake to go into Syria. All that shit. And as I started this segment with, like, with some of these things, he has tried to do them, you know, not because he's a good guy, not because if you gave him a box of baby kittens, he wouldn't strangle them and have them for dinner, but because he wants to make his base happy, and he thinks it'll look good on his legacy to say, I brought peace in Afghanistan or with North Korea or whatever. He's not a peaceful guy. This is a guy who has bombed more than any president ever. I mean, at least the military under him. And that's impressive, because Obama bombed more than any president ever had, and Trump is now trying to top that. So it's not anything peaceful, but he has tried, like with North Korea, to get off of this nuclear stalemate, and he's been stopped. every time. With North Korea, it was, Bolton and Pompeo basically just walked in and shat all over the summit to try and make sure there wouldn't be peace, and they succeeded. And then you have, the propaganda by the New York Times, Washington Post, what have you, that was designed to also stop those summits. So, for example, the one I talk about, I'll be talking about on Redacted tonight, is that immediately after the summit, because it was failed and they wanted to kind of drive the nail in the coffin and remind everyone that Kim Jong-un is a bloodthirsty dictator, no one you can have peace with, they reported all over the fucking place that he had the nuclear talks delegates, the main diplomat, he had him executed, murdered. I think one of the articles said maybe he'd been like fed to alligators or dogs or some shit. And then a month later, this is the New York Times, said he executed the guy. And then a month later, we find out, he's alive and well and walking around, and there's photos of him. And the New York Times then reports, wait, he might be alive. And they never take down, to this day, you can go read the New York Times article about how he's been executed. They don't even take down their shameless, fuckface fake news. I mean, it's like, how wrong does a story have to be before you pull it down?
Well, let's not split hairs between execute and walk through a park, Lee. Let's not get into
it's kind
whole...
of a binary equation, alive versus dead. There's not a wishy-washy area.
Oh, you purists. You're with your purity tests of whether he's alive or dead, executed. Come on. No, the North Korea thing is so insane because they have back-channeled, North Korea has back-channeled for peace. They have even flat out said, we will gladly get rid of our nuclear program if you just meet us halfway and stop sanctioning us, because the citizens are starving. They've said this on numerous occasions, and we're like, nope, we need you as a bad guy. We need a country the size of, whatever, New Jersey with one nuke to act like they're going to take over America. It's just nuts.
And for anyone wondering why, at least a large percentage of why the people of North Korea are starving, it is largely thanks to our economic war on them. Mm-hmm. And Rex Tillerson, when he was Secretary of State, I know it's tough to keep track of Trump's revolving cabinet because, he fires one a day. But when Rex Tillerson was Secretary of State, he said publicly in like a forum, he said, we know our sanctions are working because North Korean fishermen are washing up in ghost ships dead on the coast of South Korea because they're fishing longer and longer into the winter because they have no food, and then they die out there. And that proves to us, America, one of the richest countries in the world, that we're doing good. Wow. Are you fucking kidding me?
Wow. Oh my God. I don't even have like a joke comparison for that. That's just pure evil. I mean, that's just like...
You should not have no comparison.
It's like, wow, good. We're killing poor fishermen. Man, that's really...
Because I've always felt, that's what my dad always said to me. He's like, the fucking North Korean fishermen are coming for us one day.
Yes.
So, listen, we're getting them there, so we don't have to fight them here.
Right. Because if they start fishing off of our waters, then all hell will break loose if people can feed their families in poor third world countries. It's unreal.
Graham, it's all our waters, okay?
Attaboy. Now we're speaking. That's the freedom waters. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's
Listen, we claim the oceans, all right? We claimed them at least a couple of 100 years ago before there were humans. So,
well, the U.S. Navy is America's police department. So that's literally their ad. America's
ocean cops. You mean ocean cops?
Ocean cops, yes, the ocean cops. The ocean cops are fantastic. They're doing great work. Well, I have a thing that actually very much relates to what you brought up when this just came out. That former George W. Bush administration launched a pro-Biden super PAC.
Oh yeah,
and this is beautiful. Because
Kumbaya.
This is whenever you hear bipartisan, bend over because it's coming hard. It's going to be, it is a strap-on dildo of bipartisanry that's coming for you. So basically,
really, it's 7 or 8 dildos holding hands. They're all working together.
It's a dildos across America. It's really that singing "We Are the World" as they
touch cocks across America. Yes.
We are the world while you're being fisted by a 7-pronged dildo. We are the children. It's exciting. Yeah, so a bunch of the group is dubbed 43 alumni for Joe Biden. It officially launched today, July 1st. And this
if there's one group of people that I really trust, people who worked for George W. Bush.
Well, look, Lee, we need to bring dignity to war criminals back to the White House, because Trump is an undignified war criminal. Obama and George W. very dignified in their war criminality.
Absolutely. Memory is very short here in America these days. Was George Bush, was he one of the good or bad presidents? Did he do a good job or?
I think it was bad when he was in office, but now that Trump's here, he's friends with Michelle Obama, so now we love him, right? That's what I was told.
Now that his main threat is painting things that are just fucking abortions, he's less dangerous now.
Well, Ellen loves him, so if Ellen loves him, he must be soft. I mean, if a CIA asset,
he's besties with Ellen. Yes, absolutely.
Anytime a CIA asset loves somebody, it's fantastic.
I think you said CIA asshat, and I agree with that as well.
That's the official demarcation, actually. If you go on Freedom of Information Act, it literally spells out CIA asshat. So.
Yeah. But what is this? What, in your opinion, what does this say about Joe Biden that all the Bush people are coming out and high-fiving him?
Well, he's the one that's going to save America. That's what it says to me, Lee. It says that he's no. I mean, this.
He's been working on saving America for 40 years now. It just hasn't quite clicked.
This to me just shows, and all the neoliberals who. Again, you and I are on the same page. I don't like Trump at all. He's awful. He's doing all this Nazi dog whistle, white supremacy, Second Amendment, which is legitimately scary. Like, we're having black men being lynched in America in 2020. Like, that just happened. So, yes, he's awful. Yes, he's scary. But this shows this notion. And I said this all the entire time I've been doing my show. I've said all Trump has done is just been the least vulgar version of what presidents have done. And that seems to be what's so offensive to the establishment or to both parties, is that Trump says, like, you're supposed to lie and smile and say he's just like, when I think they get mad when Trump's like, no, we're going to leave the troops in Syria to guard the oil. That's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, he's the America Inc. views him as a terrible CEO because he's accidentally, through a combination of his, idiocy and narcissism, he's accidentally revealed how it all really works.
Yeah, I know. And so it's the thing I believe Noam Chomsky said when Trump first won, even leading up to him getting sworn into office. Chomsky was like, they'll impeach him within 6 months if he holds true his, as we talked about, he ran on an anti-interventionist campaign in 2016. He ran on a very populist campaign. Yes, it was xenophobic and racist and all that, but he did say, I'm going to pull us out of all these wars. And that was the thing that did resonate with a lot of red state Americans, whose many of them and their children were the ones that fought in Iraq and Afghanistan. And had he stayed true to that promise of pulling everyone out of the wars, then they would have said, the ruling class or whatever, the military industrial complex would have said, you're gone. So,
yep. And actually you can, so I only read, I should read more of it but it's tough to get through without a vomit bag, and then you need a secondary vomit bag. But John Bolton's book, a leaked version, is out online, and I read one chapter of it, and it really goes to show how Bolton and Pompeo, and it doesn't, Bolton's not there anymore, but the characters don't really matter. They're all kind of similar. But Bolton and Pompeo are trying to push Trump into bombing, like really bombing Syria, like really bombing Syria, like fucking Syria the fuck up. And Trump isn't going for it. Like, he doesn't think that he doesn't want to bomb that much. And I'm not saying he has pure reasons, whatever his reasons are. But the people around Trump do nothing but try and talk him into being more belligerent and more deadly. And weirdly, he, at least with some countries, not with Iran and with Palestine or things like that, but with some countries, he's the fucking dove in the room. He's the one
I know.
who's like, maybe we shouldn't bomb Syria right now.
Which shows you how bad our political system is. But this George W. super PAC for Biden, actually, it supports your conclusions from the, Taliban bounty thing on American soldiers, which is while Trump is a narcissist and a racist and out of his mind, he talks a little too much peace for a guy in charge of the American empire for their taste. And to your point, Pompeo and Bolton, I mean, a year ago were like, Iran, they did everything to start to get a war with Iran. We flew aircraft in their airspace. They shot it down. There was everything going on in the Strait of Hormuz, which I nicknamed the false flag highway, was just
right. We flew a drone over their skies and they shot it down. And then we said, well, we own the sky.
Yeah.
So those are our skies.
Oh, Iran attacked one of our ships or a Japanese ship or whatever. It's like, no, we didn't. We didn't do any of that.
Listen, you remember 1492, Columbus claimed the sky so blue. I mean, we all know.
We all know. So this just supports the fact, because obviously, and if Biden were to become president, well, first of all, they'll stop blaming people like you and I, like, you burn bros made Trump win again, which no, the Democratic Party did. But when Biden wins again, I'm going to go, okay, when he won't defund the police, as he said, when he said, I'll teach cops to shoot him in the leg, he'll keep all these wars going, keep all this bombing going. We will go into war with Iran and Venezuela. I mean, no two ways about it. We'll probably invade North Korea. Are you then... I mean, the people that are okay with Biden are the same, some of them are the same lunatics who are like, believe all women unless they accuse Joe Biden or Bill Clinton. Then maybe she's a little unstable.
Right. So, well, actually, speaking to what you're talking about, of how terrible Biden would be for like Venezuela and stuff, did you see he just today put out an ad, or a day ago or something, put out an ad that... First of all, it starts off with video. It's like a combination of Black Lives Matter protests and COVID things, as if it's just a blur of video, like shit's going down. And then at the end, a black screen, and it says Fidel Castro, Maduro, Chavez, Trump.
Jesus.
And his point is like, Trump is an evil, awful dictator like Chavez or Fidel Castro. But what I took away from it was, hold on, Trump's going to give us free healthcare?
All those...
Wait, Trump's going to give us guaranteed employment and end homelessness? All right, I kind of like this guy.
Oh, he's going to, when he sells our oil, it's going to give it all to the people? So, okay.
Yeah. Also, you notice who Biden, or the Biden campaign, let's be honest, Biden couldn't edit a commercial if he, had it fucking plastered inside his eyelids. But the Biden campaign, look at who they left off that list of horrible dictators. Bolsonaro, Duterte, none of these, fucking Saudi Arabia. No, just Castro, Maduro, Chavez.
Yeah. None of all the dictators that wouldn't give us their oil or resources or strategic geography.
Yeah.
The ones that let us put bases. So, like, it's funny. So when I saw this, like, George W., it's just more of the, it's just more of like, okay, Trump he must be bad for business in some capacity. And it must be that he's not willing to just go to war morning, noon, and night, because, Joe Biden has said he's going to find a middle ground. His climate policy will be middle ground, which will be so great. And because instead of, complete extinction event wiping out the human beings by 2040, we'll get wiped out by like 2043. So that's exciting, middle ground.
And I feel like we should make a clear point here. We're not saying Trump is, I know I already said this, but I feel like it needs saying. I know we spent a long time defending Trump in this episode. Trump's a goddamn catastrophe, all right? He's a fucking awful human being. There's a million things they could have impeached him for, like enriching himself with the presidency or war crimes. There's so many things they could have impeached him for instead of the fake charades they have impeached him for, gone after him for, because they don't want to go after him for things that Democrats also do. But you're absolutely right that, like, you have a choice between Trump, who acts like climate change isn't happening, while Arizona literally is like half on fire right now, and it's supposed to be monsoon season there. This is supposed to be their rainy month, and it's like right now Arizona is just burning to the ground. It's insane the amount of fire going on there right now. And so Trump doesn't believe climate change exists, and Biden just says, hey, I believe in climate change, just not gonna do shit about it. All right. Like, those are your choice.
These two old rapists are basically, this is the tip. This shows you what both parties really are. One just denies climate, and the other one says, oh, we got to do something about climate, but not really. It's just like, we're going to put an eco label on a can of oil, and that's what we're going to do.
Like that natural badge on food that means nothing. They're going to start putting those on cans of oil. Yes. Natural.
Yeah.
Okay.
Natural or eco. They just put those on anything, and we're like, and I'm sure the people in the Middle East are going to be.
It's going to say gluten-free on our oil.
Yeah. And, Joe Biden's rockets, probably like Obama's, will have rainbow flags on them. So the people back in the Middle East will be like, oh, these bombs, we're finally back to normal. This is so comforting.
Hey, take this in the name of gay marriage.
Yeah, I don't know. So, if there's a lot of crazy stuff that's going to happen.
Well, and I mean, this is why I talk a lot on, my show and things like that about, like, true change has to come outside of the electoral orbit. I mean, I'm not saying don't vote. I think everybody should vote just to try and swamp the amount that's stolen. So I believe in voting, but I think that if you actually want to see real change, you're not going to get it from Biden. You're not going to get it from Trump. I think supporting third parties can be a useful pursuit, especially in lower level elections. But let's be honest, they're not going to change the country over the next 10 years. And so I think that true change and true change and truly helping people, it's coming from other places. It's coming from mutual aid. It's coming from people standing up for their neighbors and things like that.
Yeah, it's really because just in this last month, right, since the George Floyd protests, I mean, we've seen like some significant change happen. Like, look at Seattle's city council, look at Minneapolis's city council. We're seeing some like real change at the city council level, and
shifted the national conversation. This is the same success of Occupy that everyone wants to ignore because they want to say, because the propaganda is Occupy failed, but it shifted the conversation in the country. And I think the conversation around police, at least to defunding the police, is a very important shift. I mean, obviously it's not over yet. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of organizing that, is not my strong suit. That organizers are incredible, but so it's a long way to go. But to shift the conversation in this country from never question the police and over, the span of 3 weeks, we shift to most people supporting defund the police. It's pretty incredible.
It is incredible. And we're having real conversations and proposals of like, oh, so you want to get rid of the police? What's that going to look like? People are like, okay, so we'll cut the police budget in half. Like Los Angeles, we spend $3.1 billion, which is 54% of Los Angeles' total operating budget, which is an obscene amount of money. So I always just say, just in general, just pick some round numbers. If we were to cut that budget in half, right, to like $1.5 billion, and we take that $1.5 billion that we cut from LAPD, and that gets put into homeless, it gets put into rent, it gets put into schooling, because we know like
which, by the way, decreases crime.
Of course, because we're the thing that's been so critical in these last 3-4 weeks is all this information is coming out on the internet of like, oh, black schools get 50% less money than white schools, like just on a public school funding level. Well, that's off. So we could level that playing field, which would lower crime. And then, as you and I have discussed on my show, of like, there would be traffic officers that don't carry guns. They would just pull you over, and because traffic laws are for our safety, they're just like.
So you're actually getting basically to one of the other stories I was going to bring up.
Okay, cool.
Which is the $1 billion that De Blasio said is going to be cut, or maybe they already voted on it, is going to be cut from the NYPD. And I want to say something else about that in a second, but I saw this clip on Fox News where they're, trashing this. They're like, what are you going to do? Crime has gone up, and you're defunding the cops, you're $1 billion less. And it's like, yeah, but you aren't considering the fact that like 80-90% of what police do, they should not be doing.
Yeah.
Like it should be done by it should be done by mental health professionals and shit like that. Like, so yes, defund the police, put those funds into other types of organizations and jobs that can help deal with the problems of society, rather than just the fucking steroidal maniacs with guns. That is not the only way to solve a problem.
Well, it's like, that's such a great point, because like, I just know, I mean, I've talked to where I live, Santa Monica. I've talked to Santa Monica cops before, and they're like, the main thing we respond to is homeless. A homeless person smashing something, they're whatever, they're suffering from some severe mental illness, that they're self-medicating with street drugs, and a cop with a badge and a gun shouldn't be doing that. They should only be responding to real crimes, a break-in, as armed robbery, domestic.
And even if it is a crime, but it's clear it's someone mentally ill, like you said, someone smashing windows, but it's clear they're not with it. You don't send dudes with guns who have like zero training on how to deal with a mentally ill person. You send the people with a level of patience that I cannot fucking comprehend, and they go deal with it. Don't send me. Send the people that can deal with this shit. And talk and de-escalate the person. And the most that they maybe would have is like some non-lethal, like something to, if the guy's like hairspray that they can spray in their eyes or something. like whipped cream that fires really hard.
Whipped cream. Like water balloons. You know what I mean? Something.
They're water balloons, or
soft and fun.
Like a porcupine that they can toss at them.
Yes, like a slip and slide, so they fall down and then they wrestle them and tie them their hands back or something like that.
But another point about this NYPD $1 billion, and here's the government secret portion of that news story, is apparently half of it, so like 500 million, is actually just shifting cops who are in schools in New York, because they're currently getting paid out of the they're currently getting paid. They will get paid out of the education budget. So basically, half of this $1 billion is not actually getting cut from the NYPD. It's just shifting which area pays those school cops, and so now those school cops will be paid out of the education budget, thereby not actually cutting $1 billion from the NYPD. Which, by the way, their budget is over $6 billion. So this is actually a $500 million cut, and no one, that's the secret that they've hidden from people.
Oh, yeah, and they're doing the thing that I'm saying, like to all these defund the police activists and Black Lives Matter and all these organizations that are working together, the DSA and Code Pink and everything, which is it's really cool to see. I go, don't settle for reform window dressing. Like, the mayor of Los Angeles said, we're going to cut LAPD's budget by $150 million. Well, that sounds like a lot of money to you and me. That's 5% of LAPD's operating budget. What does that mean? I mean, just one less canister of tear gas to shoot at a pregnant woman or something? Like, what is that? Yeah, that's not enough.
It means the toilets at the police department are cleaned once less a week or something. They fire the janitor.
They gotta go an extra 3 months. The tires on the up armored vehicles don't get rotated as often.
The whiskey, the 5 whiskey drinks that they put on the business budget is now cut down to 4 a night.
Well, that's going to really hurt the citizens of Los Angeles that these guys aren't whiskeyed up.
It is.
All right. Well, do you want to do one more?
Sure. We got 5 more minutes.
We got 5 more minutes.
Squeeze one in there, as they say on the set of some porns.
Well, speaking of government secrets, and this is something I'll probably go into a little more detail on my show, but so this just came in today. A judge orders Virginia Giuffre's lawyers to destroy their Jeffrey Epstein files. And this judge, U.S. District Judge Loretta Preska, determined that attorneys for Epstein survivor Virginia Roberts Giuffre had improperly gained access to many of those high-priced documents. Yeah, man, that's totally within reason that these documents that show the most powerful people in the world should be destroyed. This judge is operating on the honest of jurisprudence, wouldn't you say? These aren't government secrets being scuttled.
Is there any idea of what is on these documents?
This is the stuff that much of it was leaked last August. And then completely unrelated, Jeffrey Epstein the next morning hung himself with a paper T-shirt and the video cameras just happened to go broke. It's a weird coincidence. I don't get all conspiracy tinfoil hat on me.
Yeah, my favorite part is that the 2 guards decided to snuggle up and take a nap together at the same time.
Yes, and we're coming up on a year now. Those are the only 2 people that have been charged. So
really, they were charged?
The 2 guards, who I think are Gilligan and just these like zoink boink. I knew, man. I said it last summer when they arrested him.
They were just taking a 3-hour nap.
2. It's just like, who was the? Oh, just Scooby and Shaggy, the guards. Zoinks, just couldn't keep an eye on the video camera. So this judge too, and I just did a little research on her. There's a website that is literally called patriotortraitor.com. And it's amazing the truth about who is a patriot or a traitor. And I don't know the history of this website, but they just went into her. Loretta Preska is a prime example of a tyrant whose function of the law is to keep those who hold power in power. And they go into this case of Jeremy Hammond, who is a history of being a dissident, and he uncovered some information. And of course,
he's the Stratford guy, right?
Yeah, he's the Stratford guy, and Judge Loretta Preska's husband is involved in Stratford. Like, he's in some of these leaked documents, and she came forward and blocked this guy or whatever. So this is how the government secrets this is how it happens when the most powerful people in the world. Like, I was watching one of these true crime things that's on HBO, and it's with Patton Oswalt's deceased wife, Michelle McNamara. And she was investigating for several years the original night string of the East area, the East Bay or East EAR. And watching that, and I'm seeing how fascinating it is, and they're talking to old investigators and everything like that. And this is why the Epstein thing, I think, is easier for people to just feel overwhelmed with, having done so many videos and talked to so many people about it, because the East Area Rapist, they still might find him. I don't know. Maybe they already have, and I haven't watched this whole series, but like on HBO.
It's going to be 23andMe, man. That's bringing down all the serial killers.
Yes, we're going to find this one guy, right?
It's not fair. You just click on that little green leaf, and then you bring down your family member serial killer.
Ancestry.com, guilty. So, but the thing with the Epstein...
I just wanted to find out if I was Native American, and my dad's been arrested for 23 murders.
my uncle who lived in this cabin, I thought he was a nice guy. Turns out he's a monster. But they're all looking for just this one guy, and once we get him, then those crimes can be solved, and the victims can have, what's horrible. But the Epstein thing, this is why it's been able to go on so long. I mean, judges did this for him. Acosta did this for him 10 years ago in Florida.
and one of the key things that is apparently not really discussed on these latest Epstein documentaries in Netflix, and there's another one out there, is that Acosta said that he was connected. He had to give him the plea deal because he was connected to intelligence.
Oh yeah.
And Acosta actually publicly said that, and like that's left out of everything.
Yeah, and I knew the Netflix thing. I haven't seen it yet, but from what I've heard from people within the like Epstein, truth world, is that when I heard it was coming out, I'm like, I had no faith that it was like, this is good. This is a professional whitewash because it's gonna.
Right.
And I'm listening to some friends of mine who, they're neoliberals. I love them, but they're neoliberals and they're not paying as much attention as we are. And when I hear, that's how I know how well the propaganda works. I talk to my neoliberal friends and they're like, yeah, but how could Hillary have known? I go, oh, so that was the point of the Netflix doc, is to get people to go, right. Oh.
Well, you know what? Yeah, you give people a bunch of salacious, scandalous information so that they're like horrified, which what Epstein did is horrifying, and they think, okay, I've learned it all. I mean, this is horrific,
right?
But really, what they've given you is all of those victims and everything, talking about how awful Epstein was, what they went through, all this stuff, but they're leaving out the part where it goes beyond Epstein, where it. At least I hear they got into the what's his name, Wexner or whatever.
Les Wexner, yeah.
Guy. So they get into some other characters, but they don't get into how he might have been connected to intelligence. They don't get into Israeli intelligence. They don't get into So they have a clear kind of cutoff point where it's like, we'll give them all of this horrifying shit, and we'll just stop right before we get to, oh, yeah, he worked with the CIA.
Yeah. Oh, and even Les Wexner. So Maria Farmer, who is a Epstein victim, and she's been very public about this. And she did an extensive interview with Whitney Webb. I had Whitney on the show to talk about it. I even played some of that interview. She said Les Wexner is the head of the snake, the head of the sex trafficking snake for North America. The Netflix doc didn't even go into that at all. They're just like, maybe Les Wexner. Like, they didn't go, oh no, he was using Victoria's Secret as a recruiting tool. And
that really is not much of a cover, Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
If I were involved in a sex ring, I would have been the CEO of like an accounting firm.
Right.
Well,
that's the thing that's why they're so brazen, and why they're able to get and it'll be a year. It's been a year.
Well, it actually does make sense because he has a justifiable reason to explain why he was meeting with a 14-year-old girl model. Alone.
And this is how we do the modeling business. We have our female recruits go out and find these young women to, once they turn 18, and that's what Ghislaine Maxwell and all of them were doing. They were, and Virginia Roberts even said Ghislaine Maxwell was participated in it, and there's no mention of, why was Maxwell at Chelsea Clinton's wedding like 2 years after she settled out of court with Virginia Roberts? Like, none of that is covered. It's like the Clintons were at his compound in New Mexico numerous times. Like, none of that. They just, it's like dude, Weinstein.
The 26 flights.
Oh God.
on the jet, like several. I covered Epstein 4 years before he was
right.
Before it became a national story. Now, I obviously was not the first. I was covering it because that Florida reporter had done something about it, and then it got in some right-wing magazines or something. But I covered it before Trump was ever elected, and I only did one thing on it. But I was like, Bill Clinton rode on this jet 26 times and got rid of his security for like 4 or 5 of them, which a president is never supposed to do. Is that not a red alert bell right there? Like, so insane.
I interviewed a friend of mine he's a retired cop. He was a child crimes investigator for Phoenix PD. He was on my show last summer. And I go, just as an investigator, I just was like, just hypothetically, let's say you had a guy who said he was only on a plane 4 times, but flight log said 26 times. what would you look at that guy on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of guilty? And he just starts laughing. He goes, well, that's just that's when you know you got a guy. Like, just rudimentary detective work is like, this guy's guilty. So they've got to everybody. These judges do this. The media, when they cover it, like the Netflix thing, I'm glad the victims got a voice, but then they only cover part of it. And that's the thing, actually, Maria Farmer said in her 3-hour some interview with Whitney Webb, of like, that's part of it. She told all this stuff to the media, and then they'll just talk about some of it. Like, even debating, did Epstein kill himself or was he extracted? She goes, even that debate is part of the distraction. So now we're not talking about everyone in his black book. We're just talking about did he not? You know what I mean?
What was I saying? We'll make this the last little bit because we should wrap it up. But have you looked into or talked about Bob Fitrakis and what he discovered in Ohio in like the 90s?
I've heard a little bit about this guy, but not all the way. What is it?
So Bob Fitrakis is he actually does election fraud stuff, election integrity stuff. And so I've had him on my show. Always, all we've ever talked about is election fraud, election integrity stuff. He has a new book out on that thing, on that subject. But I saw him not too long ago, and he said, yeah, I covered Epstein in the early 90s. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, I didn't know he was anything. There was this, Epstein was the like junior assistant or whatever, or the second in line of this airline company that just showed up in Ohio and was doing flights to Ohio. And he knows the name. I can't remember the name of the airline company. They're not around anymore. And I looked into them, and I wrote for a small Ohio newspaper about this company had shady ties and how they were connected to the CIA and, maybe connected to drug mafia kingpins. And so I wrote this thing, and there was this guy Epstein who wasn't a huge part of the story, but he was part of it. And so he was running a like CIA connected airline out of Ohio in the early 90s.
Well, that's the thing too. And this is why. So I remember Whitney Webb went really deep on this. And so she found that Ohio, that's Les Wexner's area. So that's why it's connected to Les Wexner. He has hospitals named after him. That's where he operates out. That was the compound that Maria Farmer was literally held captive at. And I believe Whitney Webb found connections, and it might have been through this Bob Fracas guy, of the airport in Arkansas that was then also that the Clintons had control over, that would then fly into Ohio.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Huh. It's this Webb, man. It connects the whole. It just shows you like, oh, that's right. The billionaire ruling class is pure evil. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right.
Well, this is the part of the podcast where I let everyone know. I promise you, every episode will not just become Epstein stuff. It's not gonna. It'll be 17% Epstein stuff.
It'll be hard to do government secrets without some sort of weaving in of that, but yeah, we always will. I'm sure the CIA will get mentioned every episode.
They always say, if you're at a party with Graham, do not bring up Epstein.
Don't.
The end of the discussion.
Don't. Just everybody's eyes glaze over. Oh no, here goes Graham.
They did it. They pulled the string on his back. Oh
God, we should have just asked him about surfing. That would have been easier to pretend we cared about.
But I don't know how to wrap this up, but I think we should wrap it up. If people are listening to the podcast version of this, thank you guys, and please share it and let us know if you like it, because then we might keep doing it.
Yeah, Government Secrets episode 1.
Government Secrets episode 1, and all my stuff is at leecamp.com, and people can watch my free comedy special at leecamp.american.com or grab my book at leecamp.com.
Yeah, and everybody out there listening, you can go to grahamelwood.com. You can, my YouTube show, Political Vigilante, is there. Follow me at Graham Elwood on my social media. And, my website, I would say that's where the tour dates are, but those don't exist anymore thanks to thanks to a pandemic that was leaked out of Fort Detrick. That's another episode. Teaser for episode 2. Yeah, so go to GrahamElwood.com and we'll keep doing government secrets with Lee Camp and Graham Elwood.
Sounds good, man.
All right, stay safe, citizens.
Keep fighting, everybody.
All right, dude.
Cool, man. So do you stop the live stream now? Or you keep going?
I'm gonna keep doing the live stream. There's super chats and stuff to answer, and people have all these questions, so I'm gonna keep going.
Cool. All right. Well, let me know, and I don't know if you need to. Yeah, let me know what needs to be done, what you need help with in terms of getting this up, and if there's any charges for Libsyn or whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that tonight or tomorrow. I'll look at it. Shouldn't be. I'll let you know. It should be pretty easy. And I don't know if you know anyone that does like. Do we put a show graphic up? I don't know.
Yeah, we do need to. Anyway, I'll text you. But yeah, we do need to come up with an image.
Yeah. So that's that. I'll set it up on Libsyn, and if you can get a graphic for it, then send it to me, and I'll let you.
Man, it'll just be my face. So yeah.
With a little lapel button of me smiling. This will really.
Right. Exactly. Oh, I know. Maybe it'll be huge if we call it the Jimmy Dore Show.
Let's just call it the Jimmy Dore Show. I'm good with that. Or Joe Rogan Experience. Just either one of those.
Yeah, no, even better. Joe Rogan Experience.
All right, dude. Well, this was awesome, man. So we'll talk soon.
All right, man. Later.
Bye. Say goodbye to Lee Camp, everybody in Gotham. That was Government Secrets. So what do you think of that, Government Secrets? We're going to do that. So the plan with Government Secrets, Political Vigilantes, is we'll do that. It'll be a weekly audio podcast that will drop. Hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button. It'll be an audio podcast that will drop. We'll probably record 2 in 1 week and then take a week off, because Lee's shooting schedule with the Redacted tonight is they shoot 1 week and then they're off 1 week. So this week he's off, so we'll probably have him come on again this Friday, but we'll drop an episode maybe every Friday or something like that. So it'll be an hour of that. I don't hope you liked it. It was fun just for us to talk and connect the dots and government secrets on all that shit. So I'm glad you guys liked it. That was awesome. Right on. Hit the like button. 320 watching, 177 likes. Like button, like button. Hello everybody. Kyle Backyard, Nail, Humanity. Hit me up for the graphic. All right, Pat. Lee, Graham together, government secret, super sweet, right? Wouldn't that be a fun? And I think what I'll do is I'll take the video clip of that out and just drop it as a clip on my show, and he'll probably drop it on his show. So there's the video of that, and then we'll drop it as an audio podcast. So that was Government Secrets, episode 1. Angry Cat, shave your knuckles for justice. Great way to support the show is what Angry Cat just did, folks. Hit the super chat icon, and you can support the show. I'm totally viewer funded. I mean, I get maybe 10% of my money from the YouTube ads, which please watch them. Don't click skip ad. But the rest of the money I get for this show all comes from you folks. So I didn't get a chance to do it today, but I will go get a new mic cable. We've had decent mic. Wait, shh, don't bring it up. Angry Cat, did you mean to say that Maduro treats journalists badly during your vid on CNN arrest? Did I mean to say that Maduro treats journalists badly during your vid on CNN? What I was trying to say during that was we claim, and maybe Maduro does or he doesn't, but one of the things that we say is Maduro's evil. He treats his journalists awful. That's the narrative that comes out of the American media and both parties, is that Maduro treats his journalists awful. And that's why I was like, oh, is this Maduro doing this? Because I was like, look, because my point was, if there was footage of Maduro doing that to a CNN reporter, we would go nuts on our media. Oh my God, Maduro's beating up, there's no freedom of the press down there. That's my point. When I said that, and maybe I didn't make it clear enough, but is there's this narrative that Maduro is so evil to his journalists, and we always play that, they're they crush press freedom in countries that don't play ball with us. We don't seem to have a problem with how the Saudis treat the press, and we don't have a problem how our own police treat the press. So that's the point I was making, is that we would go nuts if cops or soldiers in another country arrested a CNN reporter. But the Minneapolis police does it, and no big deal. That's my point. Thanks for asking that question. Humanity. Shave your knuckles for justice. Spent trillions, made quadrillions on that opium. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Talking about Afghanistan was a lot about opium and also minerals and stuff for cell phones and shit. Hit the like button, folks. Matt S. Shave your knuckles for justice. You two should tour together. This is good stuff. I may also be a little sauced. Sorry, Graham. Don't apologize for being sauced. It's all good. I hope you're having a nice July 1st. All of California and Los Angeles is shutting down the beaches for the 4th of July weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, shutting down the beaches. Yo-boo-boo. Humanity, what's up? Shave your knuckles for justice, humanity. You're making Gotham great again. Did Bolton invent Bountygate avenging his book deal? And is he going for a job with Biden? Oh, God. If Bolton got in Biden's cabinet, and people would be like, yay, haha, Trump. Neoliberals are they don't realize they're so nuts. Like, Bolton is awful. He's evil. But now they love him because he's bad-mouthing Trump? It's like a meth dealer that kills people is criticizing a serial killer, and everyone's like, yay, the meth dealer. It's just like insane. Oh. None of your business. Shave your knuckles for justice. None of your business. Boom, 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 boom. J9 Campbell, boom. Thanks for the laughter. Oh, J9, thank you. And I appreciate the big donations. When you do that, there's people who money is tight. And so when you do that, you're helping support the show, and you're helping support people who aren't in a position right now to support the show. So thank you so much. 202 likes. Hit the like button. Yeah, that's one of the things when Lee called me and came up with this idea for the government secrets. He goes, we got to make sure that we're still being funny. We don't want to try, because he's like, Graham, whenever like he comes on my show, or he and I would just hang out or do Jimmy's show, or when I was on his show, we would just laugh because he's like, it was his, like, he goes, man, we should do more of this because we make each other laugh. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, let's make sure this government secrets is like getting out the subjects that we like talking about and that we're knowledgeable about, but let's, keep it funny as well. And I was like, right on. Right on. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. Big baby Zubas. Boom, 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 boom. Thank you so much. Even a $1 donation helps, folks. Everything helps. 216 likes. Matt S. Boom, 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 boom. Grant, please build a PC for streaming, cheap and reliable. Go AMD and you're golden. Oh, here's money for the donation. Thank you. Here's a little help. You got it. Yeah, I know. I got to work on that. I got to figure that out. I use all Mac stuff, so I just don't know if if that's going to be compatible, and that's going to open up a whole nother fucking bag of boom boom. But I'm going to talk more with Arno and Johnny from Cadvo Couch. Sarah Cooper 2020. Thanks, Annabelle. 100% listening to y'all. Right on. Do you want democracy in your workplace? Then you're a socialist. Yeah, I know. People are like, socialism, yeah. I saw this bumper sticker on a car. I was like, I used to think socialism was good, and then I turned 9. I'm like, so when you turn 9, did you not read that socialism just means workers own the means of production? Like, the people have been so propagandized, it's unbelievable. They think when has socialism ever worked? I'm like, you're talking about totalitarian communism? They show Stalin, and I'm just like, can't have free market with socialism. Yeah, you can. Just means the workers own the means of production. Crazy. Humanity, shave him. Epstein is alive. Very well could be alive. Could be very easily. Wouldn't surprise me. Humanity. The dead body was Tony Rodham, was wearing the wrong color prison clothes. Epstein was filmed later at Orgy Island. He was extracted. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Come on. Epstein has more than one jet. Of course he does. Good point, humanity. And thank you for supporting the show. Boom, 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 boom. Ryan Larson. Boom. How about an episode about Seth Rich? Don't think I've ever heard your thoughts on that, but would almost love to know. I'm certain it was a. Oh, I know what I got to do. I'm sorry, this window needs to be open. Yeah, it was a hit job. I definitely. A lot of questions about Seth Rich. Oh, a robbery gone bad. Then why didn't they take his watch or his wallet or anything like that? Zachary Tietjen. Thank you, Zachary. Thoughts on Sanders proposing a 10% cut to the military budget. Ching left YouTubers call him out and saying that he's gone right-wing compared to 2 years ago. I mean, a 10% cut to the military, great, but again, it just sounds like more reform measures. Okay, we'll cut 70-some billion out of the budget. Okay, good. So that just gets us down to the end of Obama's term in the military. No, man, we need to cut $200 to $300 billion out of the military budget. It's preposterous, man. It's ridiculous. It's so nuts. It's so nuts. Andy McQuaid, Mike Cable Fund. Thank you, Andy. Shave your knuckles for justice. Elise Tack. What's up, Elise? Thanks for supporting the show. Cooper. What's up, Cooper? Shave your knuckles for justice. I am single, looking to meet a girl to make me vegan dinner and make out on the couch while in Super Chat while I'm doing the dishes. So how are you going to make out on the couch and do the dishes at the same time? But yeah, I hope you find him. This isn't really a dating site, but if some of you guys meet and start dating and get along, I hope everyone's finding love. Miss Hendricks, shave your knuckles for justice. Maria Farmer said that in the 90s, Ivana would drive around with Maxwell in New York City looking for nubile models. Yeah. For VS and Epstein. Yeah. Not surprising to me, man. I mean, Trump, he owned a modeling agency. Victoria's Secret, Lex Westner, Ghislaine Maxwell, Ivanka, right? Ivana Trump. It's all of these rich, awful people. They're the worst. And they've literally been doing this. Sounds like maybe for centuries. It's horrific. It's horrific. COVID crisis may lead to shortage of dildos. Good to know. Good to know. Cooper sounds like he does like his hands full. Melissa H. I saw a t-shirt that is appropriate for this time and perfect for Graham and Lee. Sarcasm. It's how I hug. Ooh. Privilege corrupts, and great privilege corrupts greatly. Yep. So how does all this work, Graham? The girls were bait for blackmailing. Yeah, so that's how this is how Epstein at least would do this. But this is not a new formula for, especially with regards to the, hold on. Hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. 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 There we go. Don't worry. After the show tonight, I'm going to Guitar Center to get a new cable. I'm going. So how does this work, Graham? The girls were bait for blackmailing. Yes. So this is typically how it would work with Epstein specifically. He would have some function at his place, and a powerful person, politician, whatever, would come there. His butler would say, "Oh, would you like a massage from a beautiful young woman?" The person would say, "Oh, sure." And they would go into this room. She would be a child, and perform whatever sex acts. They would videotape it. Then Epstein would say, "Okay, now we got video of you having sex with a child, and this is what we're going to need done." And Epstein had this fake, like, investment company, venture capitalist thing, and these people would invest in it. That's how he made his money. His money was just extortion. He'd be like, "Okay, cool. I need you to invest $20 million into this thing," or whatever. And that's how he did it, you know? And that's why it makes perfect, because that's also what the CIA does. And that's what intelligence agencies all over the world do and have done, is get people in compromising positions, and then they become compromised and they're an asset. So that's why it makes perfect sense that Acosta said in 2009, he was told, and he said this in an interview recently, like several years ago, Acosta said, "I was told to back off because he was a CIA asset, or he had ties to intelligence," or something like that. That's how it works. And so none of this is, it's not coincidence that then Ghislaine Maxwell, his girlfriend and, business associate, father was in Mossad. Like, none of this is, it all adds up. It all makes perfect sense. And, when I talked to John Kiriakou, that interview's in my Epstein playlist from last year. He said that's what some of the CIA would do. Like, he asked, he said, like, so if I got a child for somebody that we knew was a pedophile, to use them as an asset, to turn them and make them an informer or whatever, is that okay? And the CIA was like, "We're not going to tell you no." Like, is it listed in the handbook? No, but you do whatever you got to do to get this powerful person to get to get leverage on them, to use them. So of course it's the CIA. Look, when I did the whole story about the Finders cult, and I interviewed Elizabeth Lee Voss on that, we went through all of that. That was a CIA operation. That was in the 80s. No ties to Epstein that anyone can find, but it still just shows that it was a CIA operation. Look, man, CIA is evil. The systemic racism, in the way that, again, the way we're really uncovering here on the police level, on the local level, that not only is there systemic racism, there is open white nationalist Klan members in the police department, high-ranking officials in the police department. That's how this systemic racism has been happening. The CIA, that's how the global pedophile ring has been able to happen, because the CIA and billionaires and very powerful people make this happen. There's no way you can have a multi-billion-dollar sex trafficking ring without all these powerful people knowing about it and making it happen and covering it up. That's why when we just did government secrets, no one's calling out that judge for just, I mean, it's just like, it's all a cover-up. That ABC reporter interviewed Virginia Roberts 3 years ago, and they told her that, no, we're not airing this because we don't want to lose access to the royal family. Yeah, that's why it needs to be exposed. They do sign up knowing there's dirt. Pompeo said, I was in the CIA. We lied, we cheated, we stole. That's what we did. Yeah, I've shown that clip and everybody laughs. Ha, 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 you know? Burn your guillotine 2020. Shave your knuckles for justice. When touring comes back, will you, with or without Jimmy, do Dallas? Met you at the Austin show, and 3/4 of the crowd was from Dallas. It's such a drive. Yeah, that was Jimmy's show, did in Austin. So what Ron and I are planning on doing, our plan is, since we're just no tour dates for all of 2020, we're going to come back next summer, and hopefully by then there'll be some type of vaccine or their treatment, and everything we'll all feel safe. It won't be this haphazard open close bullshit because we're such a dumb country. And if there is a vaccine, let's hope it doesn't cost $3,000. I just did that clip. So our plan is, Ron and I talked about this, is we'll just do the whole country in like a month or 5 weeks or whatever. And so we would just theoretically, I can't say this, but it won't, I don't know how this is, but we'll do it this way. This will be kind of the way a version we do. We'd start in LA, then we'd drive and do like Phoenix, Tucson, maybe hit Albuquerque, and then we would go through Texas. We would do Austin, Houston, and Dallas, right? And then hit, New Orleans, hit Pensacola, go down through Florida because we always have good shows there, hit, Atlanta, hit the Carolinas, hit Virginia, go up the East Coast, and then come through the Midwest. And we would try to hit every city that we were going to do, every city we want to do, and just be on the road for like 6 weeks, man. It would be awesome. And just bang it all out at once. It actually is cheaper than flying out once a month. So we definitely will hit Dallas. I don't know. Jimmy has flat out said he is not going to do live shows until there's a vaccine. So where Jimmy's shows will be, I mean, what would be awesome, and again, this is just a big fat maybe. So let's say next summer there's a vaccine and Jimmy feels comfortable going back on the road. Ron and I would do these tour dates and we would tell Jimmy about them, and I'm sure Jimmy would sprinkle in some live Jimmy Dore shows because it helps when Ron and I are in the same city already or in the same area. So I'm sure we would like go to Texas and do some of our live shows, and then Jimmy would do a show there too. So that is definitely what Ron and I are going to do next year. I can't speak for Jimmy because I don't, again, like he's waiting on a vaccine, so who knows where he'll be. But that's Ron and I's plan. And we want to do that through Europe, and maybe we'll even hit some Canadian cities on this tour. I don't know. So that's our plan. Matt S. Shave your knuckles for justice, Matt. Thank you for supporting the show. Got to take a little issue with you on the MAGA couple with the guns and Black Lives Matter. I see no reason why a couple cannot defend their home against an ominous mob. Thanks for hearing me out, Grant. Well, okay, thanks for bringing it up. And so I'm willing to hear that, but here's the point. People were just walking by their home. They went out. No one was banging on their door. No one was on their front lawn. They walked by a bunch of fancy homes. That couple acted out of fear, and it's a racist fear. I'm sorry. These protests are truth serum. Because if you were a real civil rights lawyer, you would have walked out and joined the march. They claim, oh, these people. No, they saw a bunch of black people coming in. The protesters are like, we walked Martin. How come if they were smashing up the whole neighborhood, then the whole neighborhood would have come out. They would have called the police on the whole, like all of this stuff. So I'm sorry. It's they have a right to defend against what? People marching peacefully? Their reaction is a small version of what the riot cops did. The first week of the George Floyd protest, the last week of May, a month ago, they all became violent because the cops showed up and caused all the violence. The next week, here in Los Angeles, the cops stood way in the back. They didn't show up in riot gear. None of the protests went violent. None of them. You come out of your house doing that, they looked ridiculous. Their statements completely contradict the people at the protest. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry to take issue with that, but those people completely overreacted. And again, had they walked out of their house and joined the protest, if they were real civil rights lawyers, which it sounds like they're just ambulance chasers who are just trying to milk money from the city, they're Trump supporters. So right now I know you're a racist. I'm sorry. You voted for Trump the first time just as a F you to Hillary and the Democrats. Okay, you're constantly donating to his campaign for re-election, and you come out of your house with a gun when a bunch of black people are walking in front of your house. Sorry, that's racism. I'm sorry. They completely overreacted. You might not agree with me, but I'm never going to go, oh, they have a right to... If people were like smashing and running up and banging and trying to kick down their door, okay, that's not what happened. You see all these people walking by. No one was stopping in front of their house until they came out with the guns. That's all you need to know. That tells you everything. That tells you everything. So it tells you everything. And they live in a gated community and they own guns. They're one of these gun owners that are like hoping some shit goes down. I got to get my gun. A bunch of black people came through the gate, so we came out with our guns. Sorry. It's all fear. Racism is fear. Owning a gun is fear. Thanks for supporting the show, friend. Suburban Commandos. Read Marks. Wait, there was one we missed here. There was a super chat that came in that we missed. What's up? You don't need a vaccine for an illness with a 99% recovery rate. Interesting. Very happy here in Seattle. We just made history and grabbed Amazon Bezos by the balls, and the people are taxing him $240,000 annually to pay for housing the homeless and other working people. Awesome, Shelley. Thank you for sharing that with us. That's been fantastic. That's great to hear. Here's a good point. Humanity, they busted the gates afterwards from the inside. Yeah, I know. There's footage of people opening the gates. No gates were busted. Then the homeowners posted, oh, busted gates. So, Melissa H., please go somewhere else. Guitar Center Corporation, underpaid staff, owned by, in part by... Oh, I didn't realize. There are several indie music shops there. All right, I'll find an indie music shop. Thank you for letting me know that. Matt S., always going to be a fan. Thanks again for hearing me out, dude. No, man, I appreciate it. We can have debates here on the show. We can have disagreements. It's all good. It's civil, and it's good to bring up just different points of view, man. I appreciate you being willing to bring up a different point of view, hear me not agree with you, and not lose your shit. I appreciate that, Matt. It's a two-way street. You know, I'm glad you feel heard, that I will at least hear your point of view. And because I've had people bring up something and I say, I don't disagree and here's why. And then all caps, you sell out, fuck you, libtard, or whatever the thing is. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you being willing to listen. Annabelle Corley, Shavered Uncles for Justice. Pistol women had mustard on her shirt. I feel sorry for the mustard. Mustard lives matter. Yeah. She had mustard on her shirt. Is that true? Oh, that's awesome. She comes out eating her hot dog. Oh no, they're breaking down the gate. So great. She had mustard. Mustard shirt. You got it, Melissa. Just say no to nanotech vaccines. If you ever need a roadie, I've got experience. You got it. Elite lives matter more. Mustard lives matter. Oh God, that's so great. People living in gated communities are always a little different, if you know what I mean. Yes. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, yes. So much mustard. So much mustard. Mustard, mustard. Boom, 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 boom. All right, folks. Well, do you think it was Dijon or maybe Hot English? I don't know. All I know is hot dogs don't kill themselves. Did her hot dog hang itself? I find that surprising. She comes out, oh, the hot dog hung itself. That's why I've got mustard on my shirt. I'm just giving her a southern accent. I don't think she has one, but Trump is a mustard saint as a president. So much mustard, not enough shirt. Thoughts on Jesse Ventura Graham? I get asked this like 10 times a day. I hope he runs. He said on the Jimmy Dore show he's not going to run as a Green. I wish he would run as a Green. Or as an independent, or move in for a People's Party. We need somebody that everybody knows, that would unify libertarians, it would unify independents, it would get some people on the left, and all that 100 million person block that doesn't vote every election. It would be great. But he said he's not doing it, so I don't know. I don't know what to say, man. You know? Hot dogs are perfectly shaped to choke yourself. Oh, Midwest, dude, like you know where that is. I know where the Midwest is. I'm from there. I grew up in Madison, Wisconsin, and then I was living in Chicago. And when I was a young road comedian, I drove all over the United States, all over it. In a car, like doing 25, 30,000 miles a year in my car. I know the Midwest. I'm from there. Buckethead 2020. Who's Buckethead? Shadowbot 969. Nice. Best candidate. Buckethead. I watched the Duran, even though they're conservative, they're actually cutting through crap. Jesse's running as a write-in candidate. Yeah. Right on. Invisible again. The door is still open for Jesse. All is looking good. I hope so. Could have been a vegan hot dog. Graham admits his carbon footprint. Psychopaths brag that they are Psychopaths, they have decided they have evolved beyond what modern is. See, deliberate mental superiority complex as if physical superiority already acknowledged. Oh, wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Buckethead. 256 likes, ladies and gentlemen. Can't wait till we're locked up again past election and Democratic Party cries about Trump, the dictator, winning an unfair election. Yep, I know. Surfing, green tea, vegan guns. Can you talk about a typical day for yourself, Graham? Self-care routine in this bleak time. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood. You're watching The Political Vigilante. So, we've been in the lockdown here we're going on 3 months now. It's now July. And I want to talk about, I've been asked, like, do I have any sort of like self-care routines? And I do. I live alone and I'm not dating anybody. So there's not a lot of physical contact happening in my life. But how do I keep from like going nuts? First of all, I don't drink or smoke. I'm completely sober. Don't do any drugs of any kind. And I try to eat super healthy. I eat vegan and gluten-free, although I had a doctor's exam recently, a couple months ago, and it said I need to have a little more fish in my diet. So I guess technically I'm a pescatarian, but I don't eat dairy or eggs. And so I wake up in the morning. Here's what I do. First of all, when I go to bed at night, I turn my phone off. I don't have my phone on, so I cannot get disturbed. I try, and I'm not always great at this, but I try to stop looking at any screens like social media or a computer for an hour or so before I go to bed. Now, maybe I'll watch a movie or something like that, but these types of screens can kind of like, and watching social media can kind of keep your brain spinning. Some studies have shown. So when I go to sleep, I turn my phone off, and I try to get as good a sleep as I can. And sometimes I'll take like some CBD oil. If you go to cbdnaturals.com and use coupon code Gotham, you save 30% off. Quick ad read in the middle of this. RareNaturalsCBD.com. RareNaturalsCBD.com. Coupon code Gotham, you save 30%. Helps with relaxation, helps you sleep. It's good. There's no THC in it. So sometimes I'll do that at night to help me sleep. And then when I wake up in the morning, I do not turn my phone on until I have a little roof deck in my apartment. And I go up there early and I meditate and I read just some sort of like mantra, self-help type. One's a Deepak Chopra book. And another's like a I don't know what you call it, book, but and I kind of meditate, and it's you're most creative in the morning. And then I come down and I usually I make typically green tea or something. I have really nice loose leaf tea, and I have a breakfast, and I start I'll do a little writing, and then I turn my phone on. So there's a good 45 minutes to an hour before I turn my phone on and look at the internet or social media. So I don't just wake out of bed, and I really would say don't do that. And then I write, and then I start planning my day. And I'm very big on lists of what to get done today. And doing this show, I live stream 5 days a week, and there's 3 clips a day that drop. So I do a lot of that. I write out what my day is. And then I start my day, and then I usually start doing whatever work needs to get done. And then I always take time out because I usually go live in like late afternoon, early evening. So then I usually take some time out during the day, especially during this quarantine, and make sure I get outside. I've done this the entire quarantine, weather permitting, of just getting outside, getting some sun, getting some fresh air. And I wear a mask and all that. And I'll either go on a bike ride. Sometimes I'll ride my bike to like a park and do yoga. outside, and I have some yoga classes that are like on some free yoga classes on websites, and I just put them on my phone, and I do yoga in the park. And then I have a P.O. box that if you go to grahamelwood.com, you can donate stuff. So I get stuff in the P.O. box, and sometimes I'm mailing orders that people buy from my website, grahamelwood.com. And so I get outside every day, and I ride my bike, and I get fresh air, and I get some vitamin D from the sun, because there's been 3 different studies that say vitamin D helps with COVID-19. And I also take multivitamin every day. I take zinc. I take echinacea and elderberry every day. And then whatever my workout is, and sometimes I go surfing too, surfing is fantastic, because the only time I'm using my phone is when I'm doing a yoga class. Otherwise, I don't listen to music when I ride my bike. I like to just be out in nature. And surfing is great because there's no computer, no nothing, no Wi-Fi. It's just you and your board and the waves and the other surfers, and it's great. And all the swimming pools are closed because I usually swim laps too, so that's closed. So I like being in the water. I like being in nature. Is like huge for stress relief, because doing this show sometimes can be stressful because we cover a lot of stressful subjects. So, and then when I come back from whatever sort of exercise, I have typically a vegan smoothie, unsweetened almond milk, frozen organic fruit, usually a banana, maybe strawberries or blueberries, unsweetened organic peanut butter, frozen greens, and by greens I mean like spinach, kale, chard, spirulina, and then with a scoop of vegan protein powder. And then I usually then do that, and then I go into my day and I prepare for the show for that night. And then depending on when the show gets done, I usually then go back to the beach and I watch the sunset at night when I can. And even if you're like, don't live near the water or whatever, just be out in nature. Nature is huge, man. Even if you live in a big city, go to a park, and you got to be in nature. And don't go in nature and look on your phone. Unplug. And then I've really started to committing to trying to take like 2 days off a week. And in those 2 days, I don't look at social media. And I broke that last weekend, and I was like, in some rabbit hole about, Epstein and all. I was like, oh God, which I've done a lot of videos, and I will continue to do videos on that, but I can't be thinking about that 24/7. It's just not good. It's not healthy. And then I'll come home and watch dinner, and then like maybe I'll read, or I'll watch a movie. And I've even been trying to watch movies that are just more positive and uplifting. I used to like watching the gritty crime drama. No, I don't want to watch any more violence. I don't want to watch any war. I just don't want to watch it, man. So I've been watching just some silly romantic comedies, just nuts. And I make sure I call friends throughout the day. Because I can get really isolated living alone. And phone calls with friends or video calls with some friends. I set up like video, and there's some like business video meetings I have, which is good, but I try to interact with people so I'm not just alone all day, because this quarantine has been pretty isolating, And if you live with people, you've got spouses and kids or whatever, then make sure you go get time alone for yourself. If you live alone, make sure you have time interacting with friends, even if it means going to a park, getting takeout lunch, and sitting 6 feet apart and talking. It's important. It's important to do. So those are all the things that I've done. I mean, it's sort of part of my lifestyle was that healthy anyway, but I had to really focus on it during this quarantine because I started going live 5 nights a week doing the show, which is great, and I'm grateful I have this. So that's what I've done to take care of myself. Got to eat healthy, got to get sleep. You got to interact with human beings. You got to laugh. You got to take breaks. Because if all I did was this show and research articles, and I would have crashed. I would have crashed and burned in May. I mean, I wouldn't have made it through the second month, man. Gravitate to positive people, and I watch the news just a little bit just to get information, but when they start spinning out of control, I just go no, and I'll watch it to see what ridiculous stuff to maybe talk about for this show. But I got to make sure I'm laughing every day. I got to make sure I'm talking to people every day. And you know, times I felt sad, I cry, I let it out. You got don't hold it in, let it out, man. If it's appropriate for you to do so in your circumstances. But those are the things I do for self-care. That's really how I've been dealing with this 3 months, you know, and it's going to keep going. They're closing all the beaches in California over 4th of July weekend. Warp, warp. So eat healthy, get sleep, laugh, talk to friends, get time for yourself if you're around too many people, and make time to meet with other people if you're isolating a lot, and try to find positive stuff to watch, read, all that stuff. Because I'm reading more and more about how movies and, you know, Hollywood and the CIA have been trying to just, you know, overwhelm us with all these violent, horrible images and just desensitize us to all this stuff. And so I don't want to do that. So find some joy out there, find some love, find some art, find some music, listen to fun, good music, all that stuff. Since we can't go to museums, we can't do all these things, we got to find other ways to do it. So that's what I've been doing. I hope this helps in some way. And if any of you have any great suggestions of what you've done for self-care, please put it in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe. Shave your knuckles for justice. Boom. There you go. Biden 2020. Jerry Hetrick Lives Matter. I prefer almond milk. It's good. Curses Big Milk. Grammy should get out of California for July 4th. Yeah, I know. Yep. Laughing is the best medicine. 281 likes. Matt S. Shave your knuckles for justice. Thanks, Matt. What do you make of the COVID spike? The left is reporting it's from conservative areas, and the right thinks it's from Black Lives Matter protesters. It's all shenanigans to me, man. Thoughts? Yeah, that's funny. That's funny that's how they report it. Yeah. I mean, what I'm getting from it is regardless of red state or blue state or... to me, the research that I'm seeing is it has to do with closed spaces. So areas, and there's areas in California that have opened up restaurants and bars where people are sitting close and in enclosed space. The Black Lives Matter protests, because it was outdoors and everyone was wearing a mask. And as Lee was talking about, everyone was facing the same direction, marching together, not face to face. In a bar, you're looking at people and talking face to face, and people aren't wearing their masks and there's no wind. So of course, these two stupid parties are trying to politicize it, but that's the evidence that I'm seeing. You know, and some people say, well, COVID is fake. It's not real because they're lying about the numbers. Well, I say these two things can exist together. And the example I use is, let's say we had a massive earthquake or huge hurricane or something like that. Like some category 5 hurricane wiped all these people out. The government would take advantage of it. The government would lie and manipulate the statistics or whatever, and they'd fuck around with the funding and screw it over and use it as a means to, oh, we need to surveil you for earthquake surveillance for your safety, and the cops need to break into your home to make sure you've got earthquake insurance, whatever. They would do all these evil things. It wouldn't mean that the earthquake or the hurricane wasn't real. So I think COVID is a legitimate thing. It's got a higher mortality rate. It's not just a bad flu. And there needs to be more research about it. And because this government gave the bulk of its stimulus to big corporations rather than the people, it has forced the local governments, mayors, and governors to debate on whether opening or not. So the fact that some of these governors, some of them in red states, are like, we got to open, this wouldn't be an issue. There would be no debate over whether we should wear a mask or whether we should open or not, because those are all motivated mainly by money. Had the government said, here's $4.25 trillion, not for these fucksticks on Wall Street, but here's $4.25 trillion rather. So nobody has to pay their rent or mortgage for 4 months. Everyone gets free health care now. everybody, we're going to do student debt forgiveness. So you don't have to worry about that, right? We're suspending rent, no more student debt, no more and free health care, and everybody's getting $3,000 a month UBI. They could have done that for that $4.25 trillion. That all of those things could have been done. No one would be fighting about this. No governors or, like the mayor of Huntington Beach was going to sue the governor of California because he wanted. It's just stupid. None of that would have happened because everyone would have said, okay, I'm fine. No one would be like, you got to open up. We need money. Be like, okay, the government's paying for everything. It's okay. Rather than small business loans, they should just go, here's money, small business. Here. Like what they did in the UK. 80% of your wages, where the government's going to give you money for 80% of your wages. Some version of that. I mean, I don't know. You could cut it up any number of ways. Just give it to individuals or give it to all the businesses to keep paying their employees even though they have to close their shops. All the bars and restaurants, everybody in the travel industry, everybody who's just been wiped out, like no work at all. Great. Here's several $1 trillion. Keep all your people on the payroll and do what UK did. You get 80% of your salary or something like that. And the government's going to pay your rent because I feel for the small business owner who makes their money renting. They bought a little house or a condo and they're renting it out, or they bought a little 4-unit apartment complex and they're renting it out. And now all their tenants are like, I can't afford the rent. And so now these landlords are not big evil corporations. They're just people who had an investment property are like, well, shit, now we can't pay our mortgage. So there's this trickle down. So now everyone's like pressuring all their local governments, open up. And they've opened up too fast. We wouldn't have any of this shit. And of course, Fox is going to say their dumb version and MSNBC is going to say their dumb fucking version. It's like, if we had a real government that cared about its people, we don't. Our government doesn't give a shit about its people. It cares about the ruling class. It cares about the billionaires. It cares about Wall Street. It cares about these big corporations. It cares about the banks. It doesn't care about the government of the United States of America. And I include not just Trump. Trump's a jackass. The Republicans are jackasses. The Democrats are jackasses. Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, all of them. AOC, Bernie. I don't give a shit. All of them. None of them care about us. They don't. If they cared, we would have these things. The Senate would have voted 96 to nothing. 96-0, they passed the CARES Act, knowing there's a $4.25 trillion payday for Wall Street. This is like a banana republic, man. This is the United Corporations of America. And the states are all just floundering. I mean, California is going to have a $50-some billion shortfall. And that trickles down to all the cities. Because, like, Los Angeles, no one's good. So there's some of the sales taxes goes to the state, but a little 0.5% or percentage goes to certain counties and cities. Everyone's going to have a shortfall. No one has it. And the federal government could have taken care of all this problem. We always have money for war. Isn't that weird? We have trillions of dollars. We have an endless supply of money for war. But we don't have money to take care of our citizens during an emergency? It just shows you the whole system's broken. And to listen to these two rat fuck parties argue like a bunch of dumb bitches, and the stupid media goes along with it, and then some people who don't watch shows like this go, yeah, the Democrats don't want me to get a haircut. The Republicans don't want me to. They're all fucking idiots. So that's why you watch the show here. Thanks for watching. Boom. All right. Some of you smoke weed to relax. That's cool. I get it, man. Whatever works for you. I can't because I'm sober. Would have liked to see Chink in Congress. Thought about running yourself. I would have liked to see Chink in Congress. I drink Vigilante to relax. Boom. Yeah, you do truth to tweet. Just want to make sure there's not a super chat. Your mother was a hamster and your father smells of elderberries. Oh, nice. You're quoting, I think that's Monty Python, if I'm not mistaken. Nice quote. Hold on. Mad ass, shave your knuckles for justice. Been watching John Carpenter's Thing. The Thing constantly. Something about the snow and isolation during COVID is soothing. What's wrong with me, Graham? Well, John Carpenter's The Thing is a great movie. And one of the things that's great about it is it's before digital effects. So it uses practical effects. So the monster isn't like computer generated. It's practical effects. It's really cool. And it's one of those scary, tense movies like the first Alien movie. That's a great film. Tisha T, what's up, Tisha? Shave your knuckles for justice. What's your take on how we'll survive since the oligarchy is in power? Whew. Well, I'm telling you, what we're seeing this last month of protesting, I mean, it's going to take, as Lee and I talked about, it's taking direct action. It's taking protests, taking shutdowns. It's taking, financial boycotts of companies. That's what it's going to take. None of us are, if you're not working, then don't go back to work if you can't. I mean, I know you got to pay your bills, but like, it's going to take people like walking off the job from big corporations and telecom. It's going to take us just not spending money with these companies. It's going to take us blocking stuff, saying, no, you don't get to do this. It's going to take like 100,000 people surrounding the Capitol and going, you better pass a bill. You better fix this right now. No money for Wall Street, just money for the people. You better do this. You better cut the military budget in half or we're not leaving. Like, it's going to take that. Look what's already been done in the last month. There's still a long way to go, but more has happened in the last month since the George Floyd protests than I've seen in years. So it's going to take people going. The oligarchs got to be afraid. They got to be scared of us, man. That's what it's going to have to take. We're the 99%. There's more of us than there are of them. It's going to take unifying people. It's going to take, voting's important, but look, this another round of primaries, the Democratic Party cheated. I mean, they just keep cheating, man. So we gotta, that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take. Large protests, shutting stuff down, general strikes, boycotts. It's going to take a bunch of things. It's not going to be like one thing. We're going to do it and then, yay, we did it. We got to just keep doing it. We got to keep doing it on all these different levels. Defunding the police, defunding the military, spending money on social programs, demanding Medicare for all. Again, what if everybody surrounded the Capitol building and said, 100,000 people and said, we want free healthcare now. Medicare for all. No, not a half with a copay. No. Free healthcare now. Demand it. Now. That's what it's going to take. Mad ass, shave your knuckles for justice. I ran out of Vigilante. Have you talked about your sobriety? Not sure I caught it. I'll be doing another round of tea. Probably going to do a black tea this time. I feel you, Graham. I celebrated 365 days sober myself, not in a row or anything, just 60 days lifetime. Aha, that's a classic joke. I've heard this joke too. Jackson Purdue, who was on that show I directed, First Nations Comedy Experience, he goes, I just celebrated 300 and he goes, I just celebrated 90 days of sobriety. He goes, no nights, but days. I got 9. That's a great joke. Yeah, I decided to stop drinking a long time ago, and I'm so glad I did it. I live in I'm in a business where there's free drinks every night at the comedy club, and there's a lot of addictive behavior, and I just don't need that. I don't want to be numb to life, man. I want to feel it all, the good, the bad, the ugly. I don't want to be numb to it. So I am so glad I stopped. Speaking of that, let's sing a song and wrap it up, folks. I've been talking for a while now. It was great having. Did you guys like the government secrets thing with Lee? You like that? We're going to keep doing that. And that's going to be an audio podcast. Download it. So yeah, that's my sobriety, Matt. And it's great. And being in recovery is fantastic. And the love and support you get in that stuff is amazing. That is the greatest thing. That is the greatest thing. A connection to a power greater than yourself, whatever you want to call that, that shit is amazing. That's transformative. That is transformative. All right, what song do we sing, gang? What song do we sing, gang? How about... let's do I don't know. What do you think? Spice Girls. All right, we'll sing Spice Girls. Tell me what you want. Hold on. Okay, Spice Girls. As William Shatner. Hold on. 317 likes, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button. And prosper. Spice Girls. I think that's the first time we've done Spice Girls on the show. Good call, humanity. Right on. Right on. I wish the Spice Girls would go back on tour. That'd be so awesome. Come on, robot. Robot. Stop fighting with me, robot. Um, 54 degrees. Well, I'm so glad you guys enjoyed that. It was so fun. I'll be going live again tomorrow. Tomorrow I might do Rockfin. I got to say, I got to do a Rockfin this week, but thanks for watching the show. Like, share, subscribe. Please go to GrahamElwood.com. It's a great way to support the show. I've got 2 different DVDs on sale, $15 with shipping. I've got the Comedy Film Nerd Guide to Movies, a funny book with movie reviews. It's good movies to learn about. If you're watching a lot of movies during the lockdown, the political vigilante shirts that have the logo on them. I ship everything through the post office. You're supporting the show. You can also go to GrahamElwood.com. There's a P.O. box address at GrahamElwood.com. You can send me stuff there. There's a PayPal button to donate. There's Venmo at Graham-Elwood. And of course, watch the ads all the way through on YouTube. Subscribe, like, do all that. Make sure you hit the bell notification button. We're stuck at 69,200 subscribers. It's driving me bananas. So make sure you all are subscribed. And share the channel out on your social media and Patreon and Rockfin and all that. So shave your knuckles for justice.